Hi everyone and welcome to Phakama, Rise Up. I'm your host, Nolita Knows. Today, I want to talk about Africa, baby. Africa is so attractive to the rest of the world, and it's about time that Africa rise up. As you can see, I am in my proud African attire, and sitting right next to me is Latasha. Now, Latasha says she is the real South African, but I'm going to let her tell you more about herself. Latasha, welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself to the audience.
My name is Dr. Latasha Blanton. I am the co-owner of The Real South Africa, which I own with my husband, Mark Blanton. And we recently moved to South Africa to promote travel and tourism to Africa because we love South Africa.
How is that? You know, one of the things that I find so interesting about you guys is that in South Africa, a lot of people, they want to go abroad to the USA. They want to start a life or live the American dream. And here you guys are and you're saying, no, there's no American dream. There's a African dream. Tell me more about that. What made you start? Where did it all start, actually?
So I'm going to start with your first thing. There is an American dream. It just happens to be, for me, a pipe dream. And we actually lived the American dream prior to travel and tourism. My husband was a government employee. He worked for the Secret Service on the Vice President's detail.
Wow.
We owned 2 physical therapy clinics. I'm a physio by trade. So we were entrepreneurs, and we did that for 10 years. And after a while, the option to come to South Africa happened for him. Okay. He initially came here in 2010 for the World Cup.
Wow.
He came with the vice president. And when he got here, he was so excited.
Yes.
Now, my husband doesn't get excited about too many things, except for cars. But when he came to South Africa, it did something to him that I really can't explain, and he couldn't explain either. So the next year, we came here for Christmas. We spent 10 days, and I was in love from the very moment.
Wow.
I'm going to fast track.
Yes.
2013, we decide we have to be here. And then from there, we just made a plan to move to South Africa. It was a very strong desire to be here. We frequented often. We would come 2-3 times a year, sometimes 4, almost maxing out our visa tours, which is only 90 days.
Yes.
We would say 30, 60 days, just because we loved it that much. And there were times where he would come more often than me.
Yes.
He would be like, I got to get out of here. And he would get a plane ticket and leave me back in the States running the business, and he would come here. So we needed to be here. We had to be here. It was for us a matter of, I won't say life and death, but it kind of felt like that.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like that. And we decided to make the move, and we ended up here last September.
Wow.
We ended up here last September.
When you think about it, what is it that made you to fall in love with South Africa?
What really made me fall in love with South Africa was the simple fact that when you look at the American dream per se,
yes,
it really is difficult to achieve that without so much stress and the risks that are involved. And after a while, you reach a ceiling. There's only so much that you're going to be able to do without sacrificing more. We had sacrificed so much, and we felt so good here. We just figured we can have a better life here, not just because of the American dollar to rand, but the people here are nice. They're welcoming. I've never had any issues here. I've met some of the most amazing people. So the people, for the most part, was the thing that made me say, this is where I want to be. The second thing would be the fact that demographics-wise, it's easier for me to acculturate here.
Yeah.
No one knows I'm not from South Africa. That's the part that's beautiful.
Yes.
And I like being part of the majority. So that's one of the major things that makes it nice, just being in a place where no one really knows you're not from there, and they accept you without you really having to do anything. It's nice. It's really nice.
That's beautiful. Now tell me about the business that you and your husband, Mark, started in promoting South Africa. What made you to think about that, to say that this is the business that we want to do?
Well, the funny part about it is that in the United States, the perception of Africa as a whole is not a very positive one. We're not the only ones trying to promote a positive image of South Africa or Africa as a whole, but we felt it was part of our duty to show people, and I quote, the real South Africa, which is the name of our business.
Yes.
Because most people immediately, when they think of South Africa, something very, very negative and has nothing to do with the past or the history of South Africa. That's a little bit to do with it, but they mostly promote to you that you need to be afraid of South Africa, you need to be afraid of Africa in general, there's lots of crime. And we always hit back with, there's crime everywhere.
Yes.
There's poverty everywhere, even in the United States. However, they don't show Africans that nasty part of America. They never show that part. They want you to believe that everyone's rich and has big houses and make tons of money. That's not how the majority of people in America live. They don't live that way. They live lives just like South Africans do, just like Africans do. They go to work every day. They have children they take care of. So the drive for us was just showing people that even across continents, we're actually all the same.
Yes.
We go to work, we take care of our children, we check on our moms, we call our dads, we have siblings. There's really more things that we have alike than we have different. And we wanted people to see that part of South Africa and of Africa, so that was our drive.
Wow. And talking about family, I think, everyone is thinking, how did you leave your family and come all the way to South Africa? How did they take that when you told them, okay, guys, we've made the decision now?
So we prepped them.
Okay.
We prepped them. Because we frequented South Africa so much, they knew it was only a matter of time before we were going to leave. And in all honesty, Mark is my family.
Yes.
My immediate family, brothers, sisters, siblings, aunts, cousins. They exist, but they also have their own families.
Yes.
So when we made the decision that for our family, it was best for us to be here, we just did it.
Yeah.
And it was a situation where they may not have necessarily approved, but they understood that if I was going to be who I needed to be, and if I was going to be truly happy, then I needed to be here.
Wow. And since you've been here in South Africa, how many times have you gone back? If ever.
I went back once.
Wow.
And that was out of necessity. I went back to give my mom a kidney. And then I came straight back.
Wow. Wow.
I went back to do that. And then with 2 weeks after surgery, I was on a plane. I was on a plane coming straight back.
Wow.
That was it. That was it.
Okay. Wow. What a beautiful gift to give to your mother.
Thank you.
I am humbled by that. Okay. You just, wow. I'm really humbled by that.
So I dropped off a left kidney and flew back to South Africa as fast as I could. You have no idea.
Wow.
No idea.
That is so beautiful.
But that was the plan. That was the plan. The plan was to give her one before we left. It just didn't work out with the schedule.
Yeah.
So I could have either waited to move here, but my insides wouldn't let me. I'm like, I've got to get out of here.
Yeah.
We had sold everything anyway. Like everything was gone. So he and I decided we would go ahead and come.
Yeah.
And then I would just fly back. He wouldn't come with me.
Whoa.
I would do the surgery, and then I would fly back. So that's what I did.
How's she doing though now?
My mom is doing wonderful. She's such a happy camper.
Oh,
she's such a happy camper. She's doing phenomenal.
Thank you for the gift of life to your mom.
It was my pleasure.
We really appreciate
Everyone
that.
is welcome for that.
Yeah, I think here at Beganet, one of the things that we should remember is our principles and our goals to actually drive family values. So to hear that, I'm really inspired.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that. And tell me now more about your business. How do you promote South Africa? How do you show, which side of the real South Africa do you show?
South Africa is not just Cape Town or
Yes.
Durban.
Yes.
And people like to pop into Johannesburg and go to like a few things. They want to go to the Soweto Towers.
Yes.
They want to hop into the Mandela House.
Yes.
And then they basically want to leave.
Yeah.
There's so much more here. So our goal is to show the everyday lifestyle that South Africans live. If there's one thing I say for sure, you guys knock off at 5 o'clock and you knock off at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
You're going to sit down with your families. You're going to spend time with your friends.
Yes.
That's a value that we don't necessarily have in America.
Okay.
You can say you get off at 5, but you're probably going to be there for like another hour or so. And you neglect your families because you're trying to live that dream. You guys value family a lot more. So we want to show that part of South Africa. It's not just safaris. So we definitely want to show people more than the big 5 and the wild animals. So we show them the architecture, the art, a lot of the culture, a lot of the people. Because I think that the biggest asset that South Africa has are its people.
Yes.
How welcoming they are, how real they are, how humble they are, how much they know about themselves that they want to share with you.
Yes.
And that's the part that we really want to showcase. So we do tons of video promotions, showing people exactly what everyday life is like for regular people here in South Africa, that it's not that different from theirs. So that's our goal.
Wow, that is so wonderful. I always said to my friend Wayne, he is based in DC, Washington, DC. And I always tell him every time he comes to South Africa that, you know, once you come here, you find a home and you want to stay here. We have our fair chance of challenges, just like every other culture and every other country out there. But somehow it seems like it's only a South African thing, but it's actually not.
It's life.
Yeah,
it's everyone's life.
Everyone.
Speaking of Wayne, Wayne is how we met. So we thank Wayne for that introduction. The one thing I would say for sure, again, you mentioned that once you come to South Africa, it's really, really hard not to want to be here. It really only took one visit for me.
Wow.
To start thinking about my other options as far as like what the rest of my life could be like. And I'm healthier than I've ever been.
Wow.
Even minus the kidney.
Yes.
I am exactly the person I'm supposed to be here in South Africa. The person I was trying to be in America was very difficult. Too many stressors to allow me to be exactly who I am right now. And I love me, but now I'm in love with me. It's just because I live here.
Wow. I had a pleasure of visiting the USA. I went to different cities, and the first one was LA. And what was surprising about LA was the fact that in LA, you get to think that certain things are in a certain way because most of the movies are in Los Angeles, by the way. And when I got there, it was totally different from what I expected. It's like America would show us on TV and promote itself in a certain way. When you get there, they under-deliver because it's not exactly what you're expecting to see. So that was the first one. But the second city that I visited was Washington, D.C.
Which is where I'm from. We're close to where we're from. We live in Virginia, but D.C. is right there.
Closer.
It's the same thing.
And you know, you want to go and visit the White House, everything, which was fine. It was okay, but it was too gray. You know, it was too formal, too business, too, I don't know. I can't even talk about the people. You couldn't, it's like they were robots. You know, that's the second thing that I noticed.
That's a good way to put it.
And the third city I visited was New York. Everyone says New York this, and which was fun. New York is, it's like a country on its own, if you want to put it like that, because it's sort of like it's outside of America, but it's like a country of its own. And I loved New York. But what was one thing that was consistent for me while I was there? I was in fear of my life. And I'll tell you why. I kept on thinking about the cops issue that you guys they have now. I can't say you guys have.
I
Cause
know,
you're
because I
not
don't get.
part
I'm not
of
a you guys anymore. I love it.
So the cops issue that they have there in terms of the unfair killing of people, and we see it on the videos. And the second one was I was in fear of terrorists, and it became unfortunate that I was in New York and we went to Carlos Bakery, and from Carlos Bakery we walked around to one of the stations, and at that station, the exact station, 2 weeks later it got bombed.
No.
There was a bombing happening there, and like 2 weeks after I left, and I'm here in South Africa, and you hear about that and you're thinking,
I was just there.
I was just there. So those are the two things that I was scared of. Now, is there anything on your side that could make you feel like that, when you're visiting South Africa? Do we have anything that makes you feel, okay, I love South Africa, but it is just one or two things?
No.
No.
And maybe I haven't seen enough yet, but I think 10 years of traveling back and forth, I would have had something negative make me feel like this is not a safe place for me.
Yeah.
What I say about traveling, you have to use common sense.
Yes.
I'm not going to go to any dodgy part of America at 3 o'clock in the morning.
True.
So I have to be mindful of those things when I'm in another country.
True.
I do have a little bit of a advantage. My husband was Secret Service, so we do things very strategically when we move about the world in general. So he's always looking for things. He understands how criminals think. He knows certain things, so he can spot things and he'll move me here and pull me this way, keeping me safe. So I feel safe just having him, but I don't feel unsafe when he's not with me either. I would say, to your point that America underdelivered, I would say Africa, South Africa over-delivered.
Wow.
Because what you expect to see is not what I saw when I got here. It's not what I see every day.
Yeah.
The people being robots in America, you're right, they're not very friendly people. They're really stressed out. I was one of those people. I understand very matter of fact now that you guys make it a point to say hello to people when you meet them. I can honestly say that's something that I had to get used to. I can go order food at a restaurant and never speak to the waitress, never say hello.
Sure.
Those are things that I had to realize. Those are just like nice things that you should do anyway. You should speak to people.
Yes.
We don't do that necessarily in the States. I think the other thing you mentioned was the police things. That's another reason why we don't want to go home. Because there have been times, my husband drove very nice cars. It doesn't matter. They can pull you over. It could be for anything. And they're not going to give you a chance to explain who you are. They don't care. They do it to women. They do it to men. So I'm not any safer than he is. So I know, at least the cops here, when they pull me over, they do what they do, and I show them, my driver's license or whatever the case may be. If they're going to give me a ticket, they give me a ticket, but I'm not afraid that I'm going to die. Not afraid that I'm going to die. So I feel much safer here. Yes, you guys have crime, but there's crime everywhere.
Yeah. That's so beautiful, and so beautiful to see how other people view us as a country and as a nation. And it goes to show that South Africa, we've got a beautiful country. We've got beautiful cultures. We've got beautiful people. We are diverse. And that's what I love about my country as well. Wherever I go, I tell people I'm a South African, and I don't ever wish to live outside of South Africa. Not that I won't go to visit,
for sure,
but to live here, it's a blessing. And to be able to do the things that we are allowed to do, especially for men and women and Black people.
Absolutely.
It is a blessing. Sometimes it's things that we take for granted.
I agree.
So one of the things I would like to say, what would you say to your fellow Americans? Please look into that
The same thing I've been telling you guys for the last 10 years. If there's anything that you are unsure about, you have to come and visit. I show you guys all the time, as the best I can, that South Africa has the best food, the best culture, the best people, the best music. Establishments, infrastructure, and anything that you want to do, anything you can think of, it's possible right here in South Africa. I had tons of ideas for businesses in the United States, and I went with the one that was within my wheelhouse, which was physical therapy. But now I don't have to stay on that track anymore, and that's the part that excites me, because anything I can think of, I can do right here in South Africa. When I have thoughts outside of that, in America, I already know that they're going to say, do you have a degree in that? Do you have this? Do you have that? I don't have those worries here. And I'm thankful every moment that I get to be in South Africa, and I wake up every day with the South African sun on my face. It makes me feel good. There's no other word to use besides feel with joy and happiness just being here in South Africa. And I'm not overplaying it, I promise. It's really that great. I just want everyone to know that The Real South Africa is the only African American travel company that specializes in assisting African Americans to South Africa, and we also live in South Africa. So that sets us apart from all of the other businesses and other travel and tourism companies that are out there.
Thank you so much, and thank you for coming to my show. Guys, this is it for today. Thank you for watching, and let's fall in love with our own culture. Let's fall in love with our own country. Let's fall in love with who we are, because it is our time. South Africa, it is time to rise up. This is Phakama, and I'm your host, Nolita Knows. Thank you.